Second reading, Psalms 40, 1 through 11. I waited patiently for the Lord. He inclined to me and heard my cry. He drew me up from the desolate pit, out of the miry bog, and set my feet upon a rock, making my steps secure. He put a new song in my mouth, a song of praise to our God. Many will see and fear and put their trust in the Lord. Happy are those who make the Lord their trust, who do not turn to the proud, to those who go astray after false gods. You have multiplied, O Lord my God, your wondrous deeds and your thoughts toward us. None can compare with you. Were I to proclaim and tell them, they would be more than can be counted. Sacrifice and suffering you do not desire, but you have given me an open ear. Burnt offering and sin offering you have not required. Then I said, here I am. In the scroll of the book it is written of me. I delight to do your will, O my God. Your law is within my heart. I have told the glad news of deliverance in the great congregation. See, I have not restrained my lips, as you know, O Lord. I have not hidden your saving help within my heart. I have spoken of your faithfulness and your salvation. I have not concealed your steadfast love and your faithfulness from this great congregation. Do not, O Lord, withhold your mercy from me. Let your steadfast love and your faithfulness keep me safe forever.
Those mice went on a trip because many years ago we took Luke and Addie on a trip. We wanted to go, I think, to Florida and New Orleans because we lived in Indiana and we needed to get out of town. It was hot and we were miserable, and so we got out a map and we laid it on the table and we did the math. We thought the kids could sit in the car for 700 miles. So what was 700 miles in any direction to see anything at all from Indianapolis? And it turns out quite a lot is 700 miles from you, if you are willing to go. And New Orleans sat at 698 miles, and I'd never been. And Daniel wanted to take the kids body surfing, and it turned out that a small beach in Florida was about 705 miles, so we rounded and said it was fine. But in between those two places is a lot of country, a lot of space, a lot of time. And one of the places that we intended to go was Alabama. We'd never been, and we wanted to see what it was like, just to know. And so we made a plan to go to Montgomery. Addie was 3 and Luke was 7, and so we didn't know how to talk about all that had happened in Montgomery in a way that they could hear without shutting down, which is a privilege to be able to do in of itself. And so we found the Rosa Parks Children's Museum, because such a thing exists. And it was closed, because that's what happens in summer. All the school kids are gone. But the Rosa Parks Grown-Up Museum was open. And so we went in. And we stood in front of the bus. And I had grown up hearing stories about Rosa Parks on the bus and all that had happened. And it was this story that seemed beautiful and simple and wonderful, right? Get on the bus, you get arrested, and then it all gets better and you get to ride in the front of the bus. Wow, that's awesome. The bus is the second room in the museum, and the museum is another 8 or 9 rooms, because the rest of the story happens after the arrest, right? You all know the story. You probably didn't hear it on Sesame Street like I did. It wasn't a legend to be told. It was life to be lived. But the boycott that lasted 369 days, December 12th to December 17th, right? All the way a year and then some. Of everybody together saying, we won't ride this bus. We won't do this thing. And we don't know for how long. And we don't know what cost it means to give up. But we are committed to doing it together. That story and all the parts that came with it, the FBI investigations, the way Alabama as a court and a state continued to oppress the movement, the way they sat outside of grocery stores and barbershops and arrested people running a carpool, and the way people continued to funnel money together for gas funds, to buy cars, to create the first kind of a carpool so that people could travel, people could continue to live as they boycotted. We left that museum, and Daniel and I were in tears. And Addie went to the gift shop and found a bus. And it's a pewter bus, and it's a keychain, and she got one for Luke too, and they still have them, and it etched in it simply says, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And then she got a book that says, I am Rosa Parks. And it's the story, and she continues to read it, maybe because the cover is pink, I'm not really sure, but it is a frequent part of our evening reading. And it has been a channel for how we talk about what it means to be Christian. Because this is the part that seems to be critically important, is that sometimes we want to separate the way that we live outside of this building with what we do inside of it. That we want to think that our work in the civic space and the public space and the community space is our Saturday, Thursday, Wednesday, Monday selves, depending on when we're out there. And that our Sunday selves get to be something different. But for me, so much of how I understand my Sunday self with my Thursday self is because they intertwine. Because they are connected. One informs the other. And that's where our psalm comes in. Our psalmist is able to articulate how incredibly painful life can be. How incredibly hard and crushing it can be. You heard Leslie read about the boggy mire. And you heard that God was there already. In this psalm, Psalm 40 is not the psalm where God is way up, far away, cast out, who condescends and comes down to us and walks alongside us. It's the God who is in the muck with us, who was already there. And in that reality, for every moment that we are being, and it is hard to be, God is there. closer than the next breath, upholding our feet. And the psalmist proclaims this thousands of years before a bus, that this is already hard and that God is already there. And that was incredibly important. And I remember feeling, as we looked at those pictures where Rosa Parks received her Congressional Gold Medal, I thought, this is great. We have achieved something. But it feels like we are turning as a society, as a culture, and even as people of faith, that we are turning in a different direction, that we are forgetting, that amnesia is setting in, and that somehow we don't remember, or we don't want to remember. Or in a more malicious state, we have an active erasure, a disappearing, a removal of what it means to move for inclusion, of what it means to acknowledge each other's place in each other's lives, and to hold up the ways that repression is absolutely affecting everyone. That the psalmist's words seem to be forgotten, that God is with us in the hard, and yet God places us on a solid rock from which we can proclaim the goodness. It seems that we are drowning in the mire. And part of what seems to be the critical moment for the way that our Sunday lives can affect the rest of our week is to remember that we are on the rock. We are stable. We are with God. We are with each other. And there is a lot of hope. There is a lot of fear. But if we decide that all we can do is sink deeper, it will be harder to see. There is a man, I don't know his name, maybe only known to the author of the book. The author's name is Mark Medley, and I'm going to forget the name. It's Impossible. This Day is Impossible. Ooh, I have to write it down. This man is after one thing in his life: to find the pink-headed duck. The pink-headed duck may or may not be extinct. No one's really sure. No one's seen the pink-headed duck since 1951. And even then, they're not really sure they've seen it. This thing, this creature, this being, motivates his search so that all he does day in and day out is chronicle births of ducks, checks to see if they're pink-headed ducks, seeks pink-headed duck dwelling places. He has been motivated by the impossible reality of photographing the pink-headed duck. You might say he's deluded. You might say he's lost his mind. You might say the person who decided to write a book about him was equally deluded, and what are they doing? But I think that when you search for something, you know it to be true. None of us go out looking for something we know we will never find. So that man must believe that he will find the pink-headed duck. He may not actually find it. Scientists are in fact convinced he will not. But he is searching for it over and over and over again. He is convinced that he will find it, and he is motivated to look and seek. And in the searching, he has found companions. He has found community. There are now multiple people looking for the pink-headed duck. What does it mean to search for the thing that you don't know if it's true or not? What does it mean to search for what you're not sure, but you hope you will find? What does it mean to search when you're pretty sure your search will outlive you? That's hope. That's foundational. That's when we understand that what we are looking for is not impossible. It's just really far away. There have been so many for so long, for maybe all of the times that humans have been living in community, that we have searched for a sense of right relation and justice. It's what informs every line in our text. It's what grounds our tradition and so many others. It is the way that we seek to understand how to live with each other with a sense of integrity and love and grace, a sense of equality and equanimity. This is what we are trying to solve, and we cannot get it right. Over and over, we hurt each other. We make ways of hurting each other. We make systems of hurting each other. It is as if we strive to seek to get it right, but only fail over and over. So why are we still searching? Why are we still trying to find justice and right relation with one another and with God? Why are we seeking to find these things? Because we know they are true. We know, we are convinced that we will find them. And maybe our search for justice and love of neighbor exceeds our lifetime. Maybe that search is one that we live to carry as a lamp that we pass on. Maybe that's our part in this. Maybe the search for the pink-headed duck isn't so ridiculous when you look at what we try to do. To love our neighbors and care for each other, maybe that's ridiculous. We have a lot of history would suggest we're not so good at it. And then I think of an entire town that decided not to ride the bus, who figured out a way to buy cars, get gas, pick each other up, find the grocery store, deliver laundry, make Christmas and Easter and church attendance possible, that made a way when there was no way, and when the state government continued to say, we're not allowing this, waited and worked anyway. Until the Supreme Court stepped in, there was really the possibility that this is how it was going to be. Hope when you can't see the end is hope nonetheless. Because sometimes when you can see the end, it's just waiting, almost like cheating. Hope when you can't see the end. Work when you don't know when the rest comes is part of what we are called to. So I'm not sure if this man will ever find the pink-headed duck. But I am convinced that whether it is my whole life and then the kids' whole life and then their kids and then their kids, the search and the hope and the work for justice and love of neighbor is worth engaging in because it is true. And because I search for it, because you search for it, we know it to be. We just have to find it. Amen.